like we're going. Well, first of all, thanks everybody for making it. This is the CircuitPython Weekly, which is like a meeting that Dan and I started because we were doing development. We both work for Adafruit full time doing development of CircuitPython. So this is a way for us to sync, and then we're like, oh well, we should actually um, make it so that other people can join in and figure out what's going on and collaborate with us as well. So we've done this. This is probably like week 4, something like that, and it's been going really well. So we're going to keep doing it. I actually did want to change the format a little bit today. Nobody knows this, but I was thinking it would be cool. I actually want to start with Hug Reports, which is an Adafruit thing where we basically give a shout out to everybody who's doing awesome stuff. So the way this will work is kind of like our status updates that we'll do later, but I've got a big list because everybody's been super awesome, so I'll go over that. And then after that list, if anybody else has Hug Reports that they want to do, shout outs to people for being awesome, I'll give you a chance for that. So I'll start. First and foremost, I want to highlight Katney, who's been helping tons and tons of people in the chat. She's helped Instinctive, Diastles, Brad, J Ramsdale, Dow20 in like the last 3 days I was working. It was awesome. Jerry N has also been super helpful, helping Diastles as well. Mr. McWethy, Mike, he's on the chat. Thank you so much for all your struct stuff. He's doing some code changes for 3x, which will mean that we'll have struct rather than use struct, which is just a thing of getting us closer to what CPython does. And he's been taking both on the core code and all of the drivers that use struct, which is really cool. Shout out to Dan Conley, aka Sigafus, for the temp logging learn guide. That's super awesome. It went out last Wednesday, so if you haven't looked at that, that's a really cool guide. Jerry N and Don Blair, who I think goes by Edge Collective, also gets props because Dan stole their code and based it off that, which is cool. That's temperature logging using the onboard temperature sensor for a trinket and then logging to the internal file system. So you don't actually need anything external, which is super cool. Lady Ada had a similar idea as well. Props to Radomir Deshipu for he's making a cool Featherwing for making really simple pixel-based games, and he's been doing some really good work in terms of game pads, so tracking button presses and stuff, making sure that you don't miss button presses and all that. So there's a pull request for that. I'll get to it shortly, but it's a really good test case, and I think that he's making CircuitPython better for it. Shout out to Tony D for his awesome talk at Maker Faire, and generally being a really good advocate for CircuitPython and MicroPython. The guide updates, I know that we've had to go back and redo a bunch of stuff, but I think it's for the better, and I think we're headed in the right direction. So thank you, Tony. Dan Halbert, thank you so much for this weekend helping Lamore, aka Radiata, with her Touch.io issues. Polishing CircuitPython in general is there's going to be a lot of it, and so Dan, thank you for that. Shout out to Phil Moyer, Hukuza Tuna, his name I can never pronounce, but thanks to him for the GPS parsing work, which will be really, really good as well. This was kind of my secret hope for CircuitPython, is like if Dan and I can do a lot of the core work, we can get a bunch of other people to build really good APIs and libraries on top of it. So that's just one example. And then finally, shout out to Becky Button. She goes by Genius Einstein or something like that. She's going to pick up a driver for the TCS 34725, which I don't actually know what it is, but that's super cool. And if you've noticed, we've started making issues in the Adafruit CircuitPython issue list, even if it's for code that doesn't necessarily go there. That's just a good central location to track things before they have repos of their own. So that's a way for people to say like, hey, I'm doing this driver or that driver. That's working out really well. Yeah, so thank you all for making it to the meeting, and that's my Hug report list. Anybody else have any others?
I do.
Shoot.
Well, first of all, you. Scott has taken a lot of time to sit down and help me with things I've been working on, questions I have. He sat down with Kurt and I both and walked us through setting up Sphinx, which was much easier than the internet made it seem once you explained it. But just wanted to say I really appreciate all the help that you've given me.
Well, it's paying off, so I'll keep doing it.
Excellent.
Any other folks?
I was just saying also, Lemore, Lady Ada, has actually spent hours and hours writing some quick start guides for the Gemma and Trinket and testing the code. There are many, many simple examples that she wrote, and in the process, she found a bunch of bugs. So she's our best tester.
Oh yeah.
And she's writing a whole lot of stuff to make it easy for beginners to get started with simple code examples.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Anybody else? All right, well, that's Hug Reports. Keep them in mind for next week. Now we'll kind of move into the section of the weekly, kind of where we just do, we literally like kind of just go down the list and say what we're working on, just so everybody else is aware. And then like after we do that, we can do more technical questions and stuff if anybody has them. So again, I'll start. I'm helping everybody who needs help. Pull requests and all that are my top priority, and then right below that is just SAMD51 M4 work. Master right now is kind of in a state of flux, so it's not really great to build on, and so I don't have a lot of time this week because I'm going to the Open Hardware Summit on Wednesday, which will be super good, but I kind of want Master to settle down by the end of next week then. So I'll spend a lot of time next week. Really, we're not going to have all the APIs done, but I do want to get to the point where like the CircuitPy drive shows up and everything's kind of stable and REPL kind of works. So that we can start building out kind of from that foundation. So that's like, from the technical side, that's my core focus, is getting that done. I've got the internal file system working on the M4, so I can actually store MPy files and run them. I do have a hard fault right now that I'll have to take a look at. Hard faults are no fun, so that's where I'm at. The internal file system works. Next up after I might ignore the hard fault and move on to USB mass storage, which would be good as well. And that will get us kind of to the workflow point that we want to be going forwards. So that's my core focus right now. Carter, I think you're only. I'll just go in order. I know we're alphabetically, but it's easiest to keep track of. So Carter, do you have anything that you want to mention? Nope. Okay, Dan.
Okay, so Scott and I were in New York last week. So Wednesday through Friday. So I've been working on a bunch of bugs on 2.0, specifically all the I/O objects. There's a danger that they can be reused even after they've been deinitialized. And so I'm putting a whole bunch of checking code to when they get deinitialized, they mark themselves, and then they should refuse to do anything after that. But there are a lot of sort of changes spread out all over the place, and I've redone it a couple of times to make it more sensible. So that's in process right now. And as Scott mentioned, Lumore was testing the Touch IO stuff over the weekend, and she found that it didn't always work because the threshold was set relatively high. So she and I discussed that, and then I also tested it with some things besides fingers. I tested it in the makey style with several pieces of fruit attached to alligator clip leads, and figured out what a reasonable threshold would be between not touching and touching. So that code is in a pull request right now, and it'll go in at some point. And
Dan, I really love that in your comment it says works better for attached objects such as fruit.
Right. As opposed to, right. All right.
And I'm going to pull it right now, actually.
Okay. And right, I was trying to give other attached objects, but everybody seems to like to use bananas. So that's the main thing I tested it with, and then I ate it. So I can't retest with that particular banana. So we're running out. I'm worried about running out of space completely in the Gemma and Trinket builds, but maybe we can squeeze in the dinit stuff that I'm doing, but hopefully I can make it just fit.
Yeah, and the other thing we were talking about was simplifying some of the constructor logic for things, right? There might be some space we could get back.
In the I/O.
Yeah, like bus I/O, all the pin finding stuff.
Yeah, maybe. Right. I can talk to you about that later. Yeah, if this is an issue. Yeah.
I think we have options.
Yeah. And I bought parts to build another instantiation of Rosie, but I haven't. They're just spread out on the side here. I haven't tried to put anything together yet. Though I may try to get the Raspberry Pi to boot off a hard drive so that it doesn't wear out the SD card every month.
Right.
Or I have one or two small computers that I could use instead of the Raspberry Pi. And other than that, we could talk later about the details of the ASF4 work. Okay, so that's the summary for right now.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
We can talk about that at the end of the show. Like, I kind of figure we... Hug report to you, Dan, from Carter.
Thank you.
All right, Katney?
Yeah, so I've been working on the Circuit Playground Express APIs. After multiple days, I managed to get start tone and stop tone to work. The thing is, the algorithm that creates the sine wave is apparently too large as it is. I managed to get it to the right size, but so that Sphinx would build and that it would run. But the volume is not the same as it is with the larger sine wave sample. So I wanted, I haven't done the pull request yet, but I wanted you to take a look at that. And otherwise, I've been working on the touch API and the accelerometer API. And I think with the accelerometer, I probably need to, at some point, have a discussion with you, Scott, about how we want that to look, basically design there. And I may need some assistance with the touch API. I've been having a lot of trouble getting that started. Other than that, I think that's about it. The start tone, stop tone is the one that's essentially finished. We just need to take a look at how best to deal with the sine wave code on it.
So Scott says his cat is having a seizure.
Yeah.
So he may be occupied. So maybe we could go ahead and I'll take over temporarily. So Kurt, do you want to say something? You have some.
Yeah. I originally said I couldn't talk, but I got a second. So can you hear me? I'm using the app.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So Scott was nice enough to hook me up with a bunch of the rest of the boards that support CircuitPython that I didn't have, but UPS lost my order. So I'm waiting for her to get a refund on that or something so I can get those boards again. but I've of course been working on the ESP2 8266 stuff, and I installed Sphinx. As Katney said earlier, Scott helped us get Sphinx up so we can work on read the doc stuff. So I'm just working through learning how to use Sphinx and Cookie Cutter to get stuff loaded to the README docs. So that's kind of stalled right now just because I haven't had a lot of time on the last couple of days, but I'm hopefully going to get back to that in the next couple of days and get my missing boards situation figured out. Yeah, so other than that, haven't had a lot going on.
Okay, I'm back.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
Everything okay with the cat?
Yeah, he has epilepsy, so it's not uncommon for him to have a seizure. But
Okay. Yeah.
he's okay now.
Good deal.
Yeah, sorry about that. He does that.
You're fine. He didn't miss much. I was just saying, those boards that you hooked me up with, UPS lost them. So
Oh, what?
I had to file a claim, so I'm waiting for that to get sorted out, and hopefully I can either get a refund from UPS and order the same boards again, or they'll find my missing package. So
Yeah,
but
email support also.
yeah. So once I get those boards, I want to do work on some of the boards that don't have a lot of libraries and stuff built for them, and example code and everything like that. Still working on Sphinx and Cookie Cutter to get that driver uploaded to read the docs that we talked about earlier. So
Yeah,
that's
nice.
all you missed. Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mike?
Hi. I've been making progress. I'm so excited that I'm able to build a whole system and have it work on the boards. But anyway, yeah, I made all the changes, I think, in the C code for changing ustruct to struct and putting it into shared bindings and shared module. And now I'm going through and I've made the changes to all of the libraries, but I'm testing them one by one. Of course, I don't have the boards that that they're driving, but I'm able to see whether or not I get an import error, ustruct missing or struct missing, or something like that. And I've been just working through one by one. There's maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them.
Okay.
And so I'll be, once I get through those, I'll give you a chance to take a look at them and include them in the code stream, and then I'll finally release my changes. Is that to the main CircuitPython? Does that make sense?
I think it's fine if you do the pull request for the struct right now.
Oh, okay.
At the same time.
You'll be able to see it and what I did. Yeah. Okay. I'll do that today. So
Awesome.
that's it.
Thank you for that. It sounds like only some people can hear. They can hear me, but they can't hear you, Mike. I can hear you, so the recording should have it. So that's good. So I'll just keep going. For those of you who can't hear Mike, I can hear him, so you can check back on the recording. The gist was that he's doing all the struct work, which is really good. All right, Noe and Pedro, do you guys have any stuff? I know you're doing awesome projects.
Hello. Can you hear us? Or me?
I can hear you.
Okay, yeah, no, I don't have any projects, CircuitPython specific projects this week. But there is one that is coming. Lamar recently did a quick sketch for a new NeoPixel light painter using dot stars LEDs. So she wrote the sketch for that, and as soon as I get this project done, the Joy control is what I'm working on currently for this week. But once I get that done, I'm going to start working on the 3D case thing for those components. So that will be pretty interesting, I think.
Yeah, I think it'll be good too. Do you want to do a quick recap of previous CircuitPython projects you've done?
Oh, let's see. The last CircuitPython project was I guess it's the acrylic CNC milled case thing that I made. Not much to it other than a NeoPixel stick and the M0. I've been using the M0 for everything. The M0 Express. It's just I love that board. It's got everything I need.
Right.
I think is it Mike? Mikey, who's been going back and kind of updating our previous sketches so that they reflect all the new stuff, all the new kind of API stuff for NeoPixels.
Yeah, Mikey Sklar.
Yeah, so
yeah, they're not on.
Hug report for you, Mike, on that one. Thank you for doing that.
It's a different Mike, but yeah.
Oh, okay, different Mike. Well, we'll hug report to that, Mike.
Mikey Sklar, yeah. Yeah, I was just talking with Lamore about that person too.
Cool. Yeah, and I really like the whole idea of like making a new repo for the learning guide. So like we have like a dedicated spot on GitHub for all the kind of learning guides. So I've been kind of contributing to that a little bit.
Right. Yeah. I don't know how much we told people about that, but.
Right. Yeah.
You want to? I think you kind of touched on it already.
Sure. I'll put a link.
Yeah.
Wait.
The gist is that all of our example code can now go into GitHub repo. And it's directly connected to Learn. So when you find issues with newer example code, you'll be able to go find it and actually submit a fix.
Yeah.
Which would be really cool.
Yeah, I guess it's better to have it in one main repo instead of like individual repos. It's just that, like, for me, I guess I'm going to have a whole, like, I'll have because I don't use GitHub that much. I'm more of a designer. I don't do much programming. But it's like, I'm going to have like 100 folders now in my Dropbox with all the code, which is fine because code isn't anything big.
Right.
So just have to make sure not to put any, like, I don't know, Photoshop files in there or whatever. Might get a little bit too big. So just limit it to code, right?
Like all of the board designs are all in one repo, so you don't really have to worry about it getting too big.
Yeah, the boards are small too. They're like half a meg.
I just realized that I'm recording Lamore talking with me. I had to move my window. My chat window is in the top right.
Oh, right. You're doing the screen grab.
Yeah, but I just dragged it down, so now you can't see what she's saying.
Okay.
People can't see. Sorry, I got distracted. You'll see it on the video.
Oh, okay.
Well, thanks, Noah. I'm super excited to see newer projects that you...
Cool, yeah. This is fun sitting in. It feels like a podcast. Well, I guess it is, so...
Yeah, that's kind of what we were thinking.
Okay.
Does Pedro have anything he wants to add?
He's downstairs. I think he can speak.
Nope, all good. Just finishing up this the iPhone project, so no CircuitPython required for that one.
Cool. Well, thanks. I
wanted to ask about these recordings. Am I able to like make a quick little edit for like Instagram stuff or any of the other social media just to promote it more?
Yeah, you're welcome to. I'm not live streaming it because I don't want to get everybody listening to it, but obviously, like, if people find them, they're welcome to join in like everybody else already has. So, yeah, I would say, like, I don't really ever plan on live streaming it outside of Discord, but people are always welcome.
So can I make them public, though? Because I've noticed some of them are just listed or set as unlisted.
Maybe, I don't know. What does everybody think?
Listening to all of them so far.
I have no idea how you would make this an Instagram post. It's more visual stuff for Instagram or even Facebook, so I don't know how this is going to work as an Instagram post.
That's the work of the editor. Just pull out all the important like highlights of it.
I imagine like text or something, like a banner. Hey, CircuitPython podcast.
I think you should feel free to do that. We can explore more ways of getting it around. I think the intention is that it's public. I just don't want to, like, it usually ends up like an hour long, so like putting it on the yeah, I don't know. Let's think about it. We'll play around with it. it's public, so we can experiment for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely less produced, but it's consistently less produced. Okay, Sedacious, do you have anything you want to chime in about? That's okay. You can type instead of chat. There's actually a way to like have it read off stuff, but I'm not sure how to do it. Showing up for sale is their featherboard floating around. 7051. We're gonna start with the Metro, which will have the for the hardware stuff. Yeah, that's a good question. We do have tentative designs of the Metro and of the Feather, but it's not public yet. So I think a lot of the work we have to do right now is on the software side. But again, if you wanted to come up with your own board design with this 51, it would be awesome to support it as well. I would love it. Actually, I do have a wish list. I talked to Lady 8 about it a little bit. But, I would love a board that you can pop on a Metro and have it configure all the pins and have a feather wing on top of it just for testing. It's not going to be super popular because it's mostly just for testing, but if we had a design like that, that would be super cool. That we could like Osh Park and just do it. Yeah, we always welcome more work on the contributing doc as well. Yeah, Metro to Feather pin out adapter. Yeah, so you could put feather wings on top of a Metro. Would be really nice. I actually have like a wire jig that does it right now. That's something super simple PCB we could get Osh Parked just for those of us who want to do it. Awesome, thank you. Dan Sigafus, do you have time to chat? I think you're lurking. Oh. Well, thanks again for the guide. Do you have any plans for a second guide? Sorry, for those of you who are only listening to this, people are posting in the text chat. Yeah, Dan doesn't have a mic, Tony. Yeah, guide on Halloween costumes, always good. That's this month is big for Halloween costumes and stuff. All right, Tony, do you have anything you want to write in the text chat as well? And I am recording both the audio and the text chat, so people who are watching this on YouTube can see it. Hopefully my font is big enough that people can read it. No big update. Travel. Yep. How is Geek Girl Con? Geek Girl Con was a conference here in Seattle that Tony went to. And Sophie was there as well. Yeah. Tony's also going to Open Hardware Summit like I am.
So we'll be missing you on the Wednesday meeting?
Correct.
Okay.
I don't know if Tony's going to try to make the Wednesday meeting, but actually, I might be able to make it. My flight's at 9:45 in the morning. But I think it's better spent chatting with people probably.
Yeah, I wouldn't push it.
Oh yeah. Tony's gonna go for a hike. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, we actually have an internal meeting of like the creative engineering staff before show and tell on Wednesdays. So that's what we're referring to. All right, Wolf, do you have anything you want to chat about?
Just that I'm new. I'm a Python guy. I just got my Circuit Playground Express. I've been working with Kattni and hoping to help in that way. And I may, if it's possible, look to slim things down in the demo libraries to make more stuff fit in memory, because I'm good at that kind of optimization.
Awesome.
And I'm very interested in helping. I just don't know anything yet. That's it for me.
Well, welcome, Wolf. I'm totally excited to have yet another person working on this, and the memory issue is definitely a big problem, and Dan has some ideas about building libraries, and I think Katney's probably told you about that as well.
I'm excited to hear more.
Sweet. Well, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, you can contact me on the side later or something, but there are ways to, for instance, suppress the number of strings that are in the compiled code and things like that. So
awesome.
Okay, so Tony's. Do we have a bug for this yet? So Tony hit this really interesting. Okay, we do. We talked about it, I think, on the weekly last week, but basically you run out of memory and everything gets erased, which is definitely not good. But Dan, are you planning on looking at that?
Yeah, I think I'm going to try to simulate it. Right, I'm going to try to reproduce it. Yeah. So, but it's a little lower. It should be. It probably should be fixed in 2.x. Also, yeah.
I think it's fine. Like we should. I'm going to kind of leave it up to you when you want to do a 2.01 release, but we should definitely do it when you feel like it's worthwhile, and we can even do it at 2.02 as well. Like that's fine.
Right. I think that would be good, and I think it's just coordinating. I mean, we can put one out, and we can also see whether manufacturing wants to pick it up or not. So,
I imagine Lamore would like to pick it up when it's ready, because it just means less support issues going forwards then.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so it's only express boards. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's something about the SPI voltage level that it doesn't. The SPI does really bad things when the voltage is too low. So maybe we need to check for brownout or something. That might be the simplest thing to do. So it's someplace in the code. Yeah. Because there's brownout detection on the built into the chip.
Right. Okay. Well, that's everybody's updates. Do we have any other things we want to chat about? Dan, I think you and I had the ASF4 stuff to talk about.
Right. Should we just talk more? I just wanted to.
Cater said testing 1, 2, 3.
To do about.
Nice, Carter. Carter figured out how to have it read off something.
I can't hear. That I didn't hear.
You didn't hear testing 1, 2, 3?
No.
Okay, do it again.
Cater said hello world.
I heard that. I wonder if it's because we're on the desktop app and other people are on the website. I don't know if that could be a thing.
No, I'm not hearing it. I'm on the web. I'm on the desktop app on Linux, and I haven't
heard it. Well, that rules it out then.
So that's really.
Yeah, interesting. Well, we may have to lock that down if it gets out of hand, but it's kind of funny.
Oh, so maybe there is no text-to-speech
Signafu said beep boop, I am a robot.
The Linux desktop app.
Okay, that's a distraction. Yeah, let's use it for actually saying stuff. Okay. Let's see. So ASF4, Dan?
Yeah, so this is right. This is more inside baseball for some of you, but so you got the USB stuff working again?
I did, and the problem I had was that when I did the ASF4 update, I turned off the pound define that turned it on.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty simple, right?
Yeah, it was silly, so I'll probably restructure that stuff a bit more. But yeah, I did figure that out. So I got CDC work. I think I checked that in, so it should be okay.
All right.
Yeah, I got CDC working, and then I got the internal file system stuff working as well in my development branch.
And you're still using the hack for USB of getting the characters out of the cache?
I am.
Okay.
I had a back and forth with Microchip about it, and they were like, "It works for us," and it was not what I was talking about.
Right. Something works for them, right? But that's right.
Well, they just tried to echo a single character back and forth, but like internally they're still reading it as 64 bytes, which I'm trying not to do. Which is, yeah, it's not what I wanted. And then I sent them a thing on Friday as well about the enhanced trace buffer. So the Cortex M0 Plus has a thing called the micro trace buffer, which keeps track of the program counter, but kind of in a loop or in a circular buffer, but only the program counter where it jumps. So basically, if you have a hard fault, you can see exactly like what code it's run previously to that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to get that set up with the M4 as well. It doesn't have a micro trace buffer; it has the enhanced trace buffer, but I couldn't figure out how to get it all set up. So I sent them an email as well about like, hey, how do I actually use this thing that it's like number 4 in their list of features of the microcontroller or something. So that would be super nice to have it again, but it's not there yet. It's just super early.
Okay. And so it sounds like you're a little less discouraged though with ASF4 than you were late last week or something.
Yeah, I mean the timer stuff was really frustrating, but I switched to just using the SysTick, and I think as long as I don't feel like I have to use ASF4, it's fine.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, maybe there are some cases where we just want to just use the CMSIS stuff, or something, and because it's so simple and it won't change, right? We want to keep up with with patches or something. So
yeah, so I think where it makes sense, we should do that.
And so remind me again, when you said like we wanted to simplify some of the constructors in the IO objects. I can't remember what
you
talked about.
Yeah, so when I was doing all of that initial, like a function of the API I wanted was like you just tell it what pins to use, and it tries to figure out the internal hardware peripheral to use along with it. Like if I'm doing a UART and you tell me to TX on this pin and RX on this other pin, like I can find a circom that does it.
Right.
So there's a lot of like looping logic and stuff in there that tries to do that all for you. But I think it takes up like non-trivial amount of space to do all of that like smarts. And I think that for like the Gemma and the Trinket, because there's so few pins broken out, especially the Gemma, like we could probably make that logic dumber but smaller, where it's just like you're trying to do bus IO UART on a Trinket, and like we've designated 2 pins, so we'll just assume that those are the 2 pins you're going to use.
Oh, all right. Okay. Yeah.
And then it's like way simpler. So I think there could be some code size wins there.
So I'll look at that. Yeah, I had to, and there were some cases in terms of RAM consumption. Like sometimes you store the MicroPython. Sometimes you store the pin object, a pointer to the pin object itself, and sometimes you just store the pin number.
Right.
I was actually changing. I was trying to make that more uniform, but I decided that was a really bad idea because then I have to test everything even more. I'm still kind of worried about testing because you probably tested each of these things as you wrote them, and now I have to go back and say, oh, I have to find.
Right.
Like I have. Oh, let me wire up my logic analyzer to look at the UART. Let me put an I2C device on it or something. And so it's almost like, can I come up with some hardware unit test for things? That's where
I want us to get. I'm glad that you got the parts for the Rosie 2, because that's kind of why I'm pushing to get the M4 to the point where it works just like the other stuff. Is I really like, as we add like SPI support and I2C support, like we actually add tests that run on boards that have like feather wings that use those things, so that we can do it in a like continuous integration sort of way. Like we can know that our drivers and stuff actually works.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. So is Rosie back up and working? I haven't looked to see whether it's failing all the time now or not.
It's still unhappy. I reset a couple boards this morning manually just to see if it would improve, but it's still like take it with a huge grain of salt still.
Okay, all right.
Like there was still like syntax error issues with copying over, which is weird. Yeah, so it's definitely not perfect, but it is the direction I think we should go.
Right. Right. Something happened. I don't know why it's worked before, but it's very clear that there is a write delay problem on Linux too. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
I don't know
like,
why we didn't see this before. But I looked for recent changes and I couldn't find anything that suggested that was.
And Rosie's trying to be smart about it too. Like Rosie's actually like doesn't rely on auto reload now, and it times it itself, and it's like I have it actually looking at the like block IO stats to figure out if any IO is waiting still.
Yeah.
And I'm still seeing it, so it is weird.
Do you just run? You could just run sync though. Do you do that?
Like I don't think sync is blocking. I think it just starts the sync.
Well, what my experience is that if I copy the file and then sync on immediately, it's there. Like copy blah 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 semicolon sync, and then I have never seen a write delay because of that. So as long as it's on the same line.
I'm doing that and more, I think, and I'm still seeing it, which is really
okay. Oh,
so
that's not okay.
It's worth your time setting up your own Rosie.
All right.
So you can look at it.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else. And it's not Raspbian dependent necessarily. Like if I just run it on some random on Ubuntu or something, it should probably work fine.
Yeah, I think it would be okay as long as it's new. In terms of dependencies, it depends on Redis and Celery, which is a Python thing.
Okay.
But you should be able to get those on any.
Yeah.
On any Linux, it should be.
Yeah. So I have an x86, a little x86 box that I might try.
Yeah, and I actually have something like that too. So if it works better for you, I might switch over as well.
Right. Because what I've read is that everybody says that when they do extensive computation on a Raspberry Pi, they wear out their SD cards. So, and so maybe I'll just try this thing right away. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm on my second one. I haven't had trouble recently. But yeah.
Okay.
I think that would be okay.
All right.
Okay. And then in the chat, Sedacious and Tony D were talking about getting a Soleil versus an oscilloscope. And I agree with Tony. I use my Soleil more than my oscilloscope. So that's what I would do first as well. Anybody else have any other questions, comments before we wrap up? The silence is deafening. All right, well, thanks everybody for making it. We do this normally at 11 Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern time on Mondays usually. We've done it on a Tuesday when we had a U.S. holiday on Monday, but generally we like to do it on Mondays. Looks like this recording worked. I might go in and just see if you can hear a cat seizure and maybe try to remove that. That's no fun. It's just a lot of hissing. Anyway. Cool. Well, thanks everybody, and I will talk to y'all on the Discord and then in voice next week.
All right. Have a great trip to Colorado. So that'll be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I just got like 20 trinkets to give away, so that should be super fun. Okay, stopping the recording.